That curves. That little special place between their legs that I just love to listen. Look, I don't discriminate against the LGBTQ people. I just know what I like. So I do what I like. It's what comes natural to me.
So you wouldn't have a problem with me liking women then?
Wait, what?
So, I've been thinking. I'm listening. A lot has happened. And our friends and family don't really seem to be mixing well. And let's just...
What's going on, beautiful people? It's your boy here, Wesley from A Connection TV here on YouTube, the one place on the World Wide Web where we actually adopt similar connections despite our differences, and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time seeing me, definitely follow me on all my social medias, Instagram and Twitter at A Connection TV. And what I need you guys to do is like this video, that's free to do, leave comments because I read them all, and subscribe. Shout out to everyone that watched my last video. It's super dope. The viewage on that video was pretty cool, so I appreciate it. And I got this comment last night, I believe, and it was like, Wesley, where's the review for the second part? What's going on? It was so good. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna review it. I just have to watch it today. I'm just getting back from vacation, and so I had to catch up on all the stuff that I had missed in the past week. I went to Virgin Voyages and All Adult Cruise Line. Definitely check out that video if you haven't seen that video where I talk about it in length. I'm gonna do another video where I just upload the content that I recorded. But anyways, let's get into this review. I have a lot of notes, man. You know, shout out to the cast of The Challenge for doing season 38. Shout out to the producers. Shout out to everyone that brought these great storylines. There was a lot of good moments in season 38. I really thoroughly enjoyed this season. You know, when I think back about the dagger setup in the challenge, there were some moments where the whole dagger situation proved to be really entertaining. So I can't really complain too much about the dagger situation. And that's about it, to be honest. I like the way they handled just about everything. I still don't like the fact that the people on the top that were not sent into elimination get to help the team that they want to help. I think that's corny to me. I don't like that. I feel like if the whole house really does not like somebody and really wants them to leave, it is more gratifying to see them actually win so that they can get back in the house and cause drama. Like, that's what needs to happen. Like Turbo. No one likes Turbo. If Turbo would have been in that house, it just, you know, more drama would have ensued. So I don't know. I don't like the fact that they get to help the team that they want to help. Outside of that, great season. And then great reunion. Part 1 was awesome and part 2 was awesome. So I'm going to try to cover as much as I can. Man, they talked about a lot and a lot was said. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and let's get started. So, speaking on Turbo, Maria Menounos, I think that's her name, basically was like, hey, so, you know, Turbo couldn't make it. You know, she was like, psych, he's not here, or whatever. And Devin was the only one that was like, bring him out. But we know that Devin is not about that life, so he was just being bold, I guess, or brave. But Turbo's video was hilarious. It was really thought out, and it makes me feel like he did that video like right after getting eliminated or something. I don't know, because it made it seem like he was just talking about the elimination like as if it just happened that week or whatever. But it was well edited, well thought out, and well written. And so shout out to Turbo. Turbo threw shade at Nelson for being dumb. Turbo threw shade at Jordan, calling him a pussy chicken. Threw shade at Devin, threw shade at Bananas, threw shade at Nani for calling her cheap, and all that. And I was like, wow, wow. Like, you know, well, we already know how Turbo feels and how he is. Very aggressive, and a lot of people can't take his energy. But I thought the video was hot, and how he had Jordan, Devin, and Bananas and trash bags at the end. I thought that was slick. Tory ends that video talking about, oh, I'm a fan. I love him. I will work with him any time of the week. I love Turbo. And Nani, was like, well, if he's calling me cheap, I don't know why. I helped him win $750,000. In my mind, I'm like, girl, but you didn't get that money. You know what I'm saying? Like, how is that a flex when you walk away with zero? Like, I don't understand that. Like, this is your 12th time playing and you've lost all 12 times. I just don't get it. I don't know. Maybe y'all can help me understand her reasoning for even bringing that up like it was a flex. Then we get into like the verse issues, like Amber versus Nelson, Michelle versus Nani when Michelle was crying and she was put up for elimination and all that. Mariah versus Fessy, Mariah burning her vote on Nelson. Out of all these scenarios, I'm really interested in the Amber Nelson piece. And for whatever reason, we did not get any kind of resolve and or answer about that. That was the most interesting to me, and that's all I really cared for. I don't really care for Mariah and Fessy, although everyone but Mariah knows that Fessy's trash. And like I told y'all in my last, one of my last earlier reviews, there's this DJ out in Cali that hit me up through the DMs and was like, yeah, I see Nelson all the time. He is trash in real life. You know what I'm saying? Well, actually, she's verified and everything. So shout out to her. She was like, if you ever come out to Cali, hit me up. I'll get you in the club for free. Maybe I need to go to Cali. But, everyone knows that Fessy is messy. He has the tagline. Shout out to Johnny for saying that. And I know I'm skipping ahead. But I don't understand why people still try to mess with him or still think that he's a cool, ride and die kind of individual. Because for Fessy to say that out of all the people on the stage, Nelson is one of the only ones that he really hangs with out in real life is very telling. That's very telling. But Mariah is going off about tweets and he pinned this comment and all this stuff. And to be honest, I really don't care about Mariah all like that and her issues with Fessy. But what was interesting is Mariah going after Anissa. Because, Anissa apparently told Mariah that she got to sleep with somebody to make it ahead, which, Mariah actually ended up doing. She ended up sleeping with Bananas and they're still effing. So, Anissa wasn't lying. Maybe Anissa should practice what she preaches and sleep with somebody so she can make it to the end. I'm just saying, I don't know about y'all, but come on. But at the same time, Anissa, I feel like, she holds herself to this, high pedigree of, saying, I'm the oldest, I've been here for forever, I've been doing this for a long time, and all this extra stuff, and blah, 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 blah. And I wouldn't be surprised if Anissa, at moments, felt insecure by some of the younger women, Anissa doesn't look like any of them at all, Anissa's allowed herself to go. And so I could see Anissa being the mean girl. I just can see it. To the Ambers of the world, who's won, who is a champ. You know what I'm saying? I think it was her first season or second season, she's a champ, And Anissa's never won anything. And then Amber comes in, it was this fine-ass man by the name of Chauncey. What? I can see Anissa being bitter. I can see Anissa not wanting to be cool with the young girls, But then it's just questioning because everyone says that we're friends out in the real world, Anissa. Anissa friends herself, be buddies up with all these people. And then she comes in the house and then she's mean-spirited to some of these people. So says the women, right? But I don't know. Anissa trying to validate her, the way she's handling these girls by saying, I've been here, you haven't been here. And don't try to bring it up now. You've seen me plenty of times and none of that matters. None of that matters. It's like, people are going after Chris Rock for talking about what happened with him and Will Smith on the Netflix special. So what? That thing could have happened to him 5 years ago and he decided to talk about it now. It does not matter. So Mariah's sitting here bringing something up on the reunion where the purpose of being on the reunion is to recap stuff that's happened in the house. And then Anissa's like, well, you should have brought it up when you saw me. None of that matters. I can bring up whatever I want to bring up to you. You know what I'm saying? Especially if I went through it, what are we talking about here? Nerese then chimes in and apparently, I don't remember, I don't recall, I don't care. I kind of, in one ear, out the other, Fessy for real. But apparently, and I do believe hearing this or something like that, Fessy was on in the show saying that he didn't care about, Mariah Mariah's no longer her partner or something like that, so he doesn't really care anymore. Fessy then tries to like twist it a little bit to make it seem like it was taken out of context, but Nurys was like, no, that's exactly what you said, and I told her. And I was like, oh, okay. Then we get to Michelle and Nany's situation, and I liked the fact that this was explained, but Nany takes over the reins, and when she takes over the reins, I'm thinking that she's about to be mean, like rude to Michelle, not care about Michelle's feelings or whatever the case may be, but that's not the case. In like her rude, aggressive way, like she apologized, but not really apologized. She basically explained the situation and what happened and how she was going through what she was going through and how they connected in the house, which we didn't see at all. And, you know, the reason why Michelle felt so like vulnerable in that moment was because they shared common interests or common things have happened to them both in life, and they felt like they connected with each other. And so when Nany did that to her, Michelle was very emotional at the time. Having that explanation made sense, and it felt good to at least get that kind of clarity. Then like they skip and we don't get the Amber Nelson piece for whatever reason. Then we get a question asked of Horacio, and Horacio, I guess if I recall, was asked, how do you feel about Fessy telling him that the reason why women are talking to him is because Fessy doesn't have time for them. And I'm like, what? Like, in my mind, I think like the only thing that could really be, like women would really be attracted to Fessy over Horacio is the height or the sense of being older and the way Fessy carries himself, maybe. When I look at Horacio gives me little brother. Horacio gives me sexy little brother. So maybe from a woman's standpoint, they're looking at Fessy as the man and like Horacio as the sexy little brother or whatever. But Horacio is bodied down, personality down, matured down, sexy down, face down. And like if any of those women in their right frame of mind would pick Fessy over Horacio, they're dumb. Period. We get the piece about Tori and Jordan, and I'm thinking this is about to be another shouting match, like it was in the first one. But it's not. Jordan says seeing Tori was the scariest moment in his challenge career. I was like, okay, I can get that. Then we see clips of like Tori and Jordan in the bed together and arguing, and then they're in the bed together, and then Tori's crying at the club, and we see all this stuff. And when I look at all this, I feel more for Tori than I feel for Jordan. I feel Jordan had more of control over his feelings overall, and was using Tori was taking advantage of Tori in those particular moments for himself to feel comfortable and safe. And he even says that on the show that laying down with Tori just made him feel safe. And in this moment, I felt for her watching the show, but I feel for her again in this moment because Jordan led her on in so many situations, and clearly between the two, Tori was the most vulnerable in all of those cases. So I didn't really care for Jordan like that. I was caring for Tori, but at some point in my mind, like, chick, you just gotta let it go and like pull on everything that you find that could be wrong with Jordan and make that the strength of not being with him. You know what I'm saying? He can't use both hands to finger you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just being mean-spirited to say that in that moment, that would have been me. I would have been mean-spirited to just come up with any and everything to not like him anymore. Does that make sense? But she's crying or whatever, and Jordan like grabs her hand and they look at each other and they say they love each other and they're just gonna be cool. They're just gonna be friends. Then we get to Nurys. And I like Nurys on the show, but Nurys is giving mean girl. Like Nurys is giving real mean girl, like on those social medias and on this particular channel. She don't really care about my opinion, and I don't really care that she's giving mean girl, but it just seemed really different on the show versus how she is in real life. Maybe that's how she was in the house and they just didn't show her that way. But Nurys is giving, I know I'm pretty and y'all just not, so I'm gonna be mean and I'm gonna just be honest and all of whatever can categorize that. Am I the only one that gets that vibe from Nurys? She's giving real mean girl. But Nurys says that in the particular moment, she didn't regret it, and she doesn't regret it. But like today, if she would go back, she would change how she handled the situation because her intention was never to hurt Tori, even though she knew about the past and all of that. I don't know. I just think that's messy. And I don't think Jordan is that fine to be going through that drama on a show where you're trying to win $1 million. Like, what? What did they do that at? On the Challenge season 38? Like, what? I would have did that. Tori does admit, though, that she would still pick Devin over Jordan. And then she apologized, and they're like, okay, whatever. But I thought that was cool. Like, they're cool, but they're not ride or die level cool because of all of the history. Makes sense to me. Then we have a segment of all the crushes. We get Johnny and Nurys. We get Laurel, Horacio, Bananas, and Mariah, Nelson, and Olivia. Child, during the whole Nelson and Olivia bit, Nelson was just shaking his head, like, just shaking his head. And then we get Fessy and all his conquests. And Fessy says that he likes getting to know all of the women, and that him trying to figure out who to be with or whatever is not necessarily something that he wants to be concerned with. And it's, interestingly enough, people are picking that concept up. Like, I don't understand how that's a flex or like that's something to be cool with. Like, you're talking to this one, 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 you're kind of living this one, kind of living this. That's a lot going on, especially if y'all in closed settings. Like, there's a difference in dating people, dating multiple people, but in real life, you don't date multiple people and live in the same house. That's messy. That's not cute. But hey, messy Fessy. And like Johnny says, he couldn't understand why women were so mad and so aggravated when they were dealing with a guy whose nickname is Messy Fessy. Horacio and Laurel, again, I feel like Laurel's the lucky one in this scenario. I don't really see them together, but whatever. They have feelings for each other, or they have whatever they want to call it for each other. You know, they've seen each other after the show, and it's explained that Horacio was dating this particular girl for 3 weeks, and that was it. But the reason why Laurel had a problem with it, even though she was dating someone, is that Horacio said that when he got back, he was going to ask the girl that he was dating to be his main squeeze. And that's where Laurel fell off and started feeling the way that she felt. Then we find out that Nurys and Johnny hooked up the night before the reunion. I don't blame her. Johnny is fine. And they look great together. So I will watch that OnlyFans video. I'm just saying. Does Johnny have an OnlyFans? Can y'all find that out? Johnny, not Bananas. Johnny, the other Johnny that messed with Nurys, does he have an OnlyFans? I would love to know. Okay, so we finally get to the show, the part of the show that I was waiting for. It's like we went through all of part one, and then we're like halfway through part two, and then we finally talked to Nelson. Like, I feel like Nelson played a big part in this particular season, and well, Nelson and Nurys, with storyline and competition. And so why are we just now hearing from Nelson, and why does it have to deal with Olivia? But okay, no problem. I'm listening to Nelson because y'all know I'm Team Nelson all day long. And you know, Nelson is what, 34 now? And in my mind, I'm like, he's still young, but not really. I just want Nelson to get to the point where he can completely convey how he feels without sounding unsure of himself, if that makes sense. Because even in this situation, like you can see, he's filled with emotion, filled with angst. And Maria asks, you know, so what's going on with you and Olivia? And Nelson's like, well, why don't you ask her? And Olivia is like, you immediately right away, you can tell that Olivia has missed me with all of it. Olivia doesn't care about this man. Olivia wants no part of this man. Clearly, Nelson is not the guy for her. Like you get all that, clearly all of that. But she tries to like baby it down by saying, you know, after the challenge, I had to deal with my injury. I had to deal with being alone. I wanted to find myself, center myself, all that jazz. And in my mind, I'm like, girl, what's wrong with Nelson? What's wrong with him? Like, is it because he's not like working? Does he have a job? Does he not have a job? Like, what is it about Nelson? Is he really childish in real life? Like, what is it about this gorgeous specimen of a man that you don't want to be with him? Is he one way on the show and not in real life? Like, I want to know. Because through his social media and through TV, he seems to be amazing. But why aren't women with him? I'm so confused. But she's not explaining it. She's putting all the energy and all the responsibility and excuses on her. And, you know, Nelson is like, well, I've tried. I've told you I'm not the same guy. Apparently I've done a lot to women, and, you know, all the women know what I've done to them, and they're saying that I'm a bad guy, but I'm not a bad guy. I've changed. What has he done to women? I want to know. what are we talking about here? I'm so confused. Like, are we talking about his like anger moments on the show? Like, what? Because I feel like Nelson has completely outweighed all of those anger moments by being the A1 type of guy that he's become. So I'm confused. I don't know. We just don't know what he does and how he handles himself in regular life outside the show. But apparently these women do. And apparently him being fine is not enough. But of course, Nelson is still looking like the innocent hero in this situation and dealing with Olivia until we get to the backstage moment where it feels like Nelson has her cornered up against a wall and she can't really move. And he's really like questioning her motive and like, why? And like, he's like, you asked me to come to Australia. I came to Australia. Did you move to Hawaii? Did you move to LA? Girl, why is this girl able to move the way what does Olivia do to be moving like this? And then he says something and Olivia's like, oh, really? And then like she smiles and then she like walks away or something and he walks away. So confused. I'm still lost. If anyone was able to figure out what Nelson was yelling about or talking about to her, let me know because I'm still very much confused. But obviously, Olivia knows something that we do not. In this moment, I'm thinking, oh, poor Nelson. I'm like, what's going on? Like, he just seems to be like a lovable guy. And everyone echoes that in on the stage. Like, everyone's like, oh, Nelson, you're a great guy. Don't worry, buddy. You're amazing. You're this. Like, everyone would love to have you, be lucky to have you as a friend. You're a stand-up guy and all this stuff. And I'm like, clearly he's not. Or maybe he's so much of a punk that women don't like him. Like, I don't understand. The man got a big pipe. The man is gorgeous in the face. Is it because he don't work? Or is it like, what does he do? I don't know what he does for a living. I really don't. I'm still trying to figure, like, I don't understand why women aren't like, why is he single? I don't. Like, I don't understand. Clearly looks are not enough. But like, I genuinely want to know what his personality is like because the man is gorgeous. The man is gorgeous. What's wrong with him? Is he a playboy? Is he a clown? Is he immature? Like, can we get those kinds of insights? Because I don't know. Then we get into Fessy and Nelson drama. I can't listen to Fessy talk. I feel like when Fessy talks, he's just trying to say something that he thinks that everyone wants to hear. But I feel like he doesn't genuinely care about any of that. Because, I mean, even in the whole beginning, like the first or second episode of the season, he was like, oh, I'm going to be called Fesso because Fesso means that I have the ability to make decisions. And I'm like, and he's like, I'm on this whole new wave of how I want to be presented. And then like episode 4, he's trash again because he's messing with all the women. So it's like, whatever. Like, we can clearly see that Fessy's trash. And we can clearly see that Nelson's not. And so Nelson forgiving Fessy, to be honest, I don't think it was worth it. Because why would it be worth it? If Fessy's so much of a horrible person to the mass majority, what is it about this dude that pulls Nelson in? Even Corey was like, what are you doing? I don't know. I wish Fessy would have said something. I wish Maria would have asked Fessy how did he feel about Corey and if him and Corey cool. That's a valid question to me. Because Nelson can't be the only one that's cool with this dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, how does Corey feel about you? Is he cool with you? Are y'all cool? That would have been good to know. There were points where I feel like Maria Menounos, she did a great job, but she wasn't really flexing and getting all of the tea. Nelson is told that he doesn't act on strikes, even though Johnny said that you got 2 strikes. But he says that I don't act on strikes, you know. He's all about forgiveness. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Clearly Olivia's not attracted to this forgiveness. No, it still ain't making sense. But I love Nelson down boots. Nelson is just, he's just a great guy. And how Fessy did him, I will never forget. But what he did for Corey, I will never forget. Like, Nelson is a great ass dude. So I don't understand the problem, but the man is fine as hell. So I will always be Team Nelson. I will always be Team Nelson to the death of me. You know what I'm saying? That's just it. That's on that. Jordan is asked about him hooking up with Laurel. He tries to pull the dagger. It doesn't work. Jordan is like, well, we didn't mess around. We haven't messed around in the last year. And Laurel comes in and explains it all. She basically says that when Tori and Jordan broke up, her and Jordan got together and connected. But her and Jordan have been together before and they're exes. So it was just a connection and the safety thing that they felt there. Like, this is a whole, I swear there's a whole new 90210 how everybody knows each other and they've all slept with each other. It's just crazy to me. Like, they've all slept with each other, to be quite honest. I'm just waiting for the gay relationships. Where are the gay relationships at? Like, all these heterosexual relationships. Why can't we get a gorgeous black gay man on here and have him, have situations with, I think that would be hot. I mean, Jake didn't speak the whole show, the whole 2 parts. Like, he had a little moment with Jay, but that was it. Like, that was his whole storyline was Jay. Like, what? Laurel spoke more than Jake. Child. I don't know. Chauncey is asked about tweeting about girls who are fake toward Amber. And he tweeted about Anissa, and he tweeted about Nerese. And Nerese comes in and she's like, well, I really want to know who said that, because whoever said that, they're a liar. I've never been a part of a group chat where people were talking about y'all. Amber opts not to say anything because, Amber doesn't like confrontation, or it seems like she doesn't like or can't handle confrontation. So she's like, well, no, I promised I would never say anything or blah, blah. Well, it sounds like that person, whoever she is a pot stirrer. It really was. And that would have been great to find out who that person was. It just would have been great to find out who that person was. Tori opens up about her mental health, and she discusses how important it is for her to be finally in a great spot. I thought that was a great segment to go into. And so we get past that segment and we get into, I believe, the main reason why these people can't take Amber. Because Amber didn't know that she was autistic until after that season. And Amber goes into explaining some of her quirks and some of her things about her called mirroring or masking, where she operates in a sense of I'll say nervousness or severity, where she mimics certain things and her hand gestures and things that she does. It's like if she sees someone getting a hug, she feels like she has to hug that person too. Like, I'm glad that we got this revelation. I wish we would have got a revelation about Nelson. Maybe he's autistic too, or maybe he's got something wrong. I don't know, going on with him too. Maybe, I don't know. But I wish we could get some, whatever. But this realization was great because it puts into perspective why people have been the way that they have been with her. At least I'm leaning into that being the case. Because in her actions, the way that she would do things and the way that she would handle things on the show led me believe that, or makes me feel like maybe it's some of her autistic traits that puts her in these positions. And then things start to make sense. At least if I'm safely to say that that's maybe some of the reasoning. But Amber gets all emotional about it, and I feel like Chauncey is a good dude for her. Like, Chauncey's supportive enough for her. I think that was good for the both of them. Chauncey felt like, it seemed like Chelsea was a little nervous, trying to talk about who was the fake. Like, I would have been, I heard it from Anissa and this broad over here. They said that, you know what I'm saying? Be vocal about it. Like, y'all have already been on the show, so there's no reason to hold back to none of these people. Y'all are part of it, and this, come on, this whole nervousness, I'm not here for none of it. You know what I'm saying? Johnny had a great moment where he explained that no matter what, they're a part of the show. And, this is how the show is. And, even though people may come across in certain ways because they're all wanting to attack and get to the one thing. And, Johnny made it seem like, forgiveness is great and don't take anything to heart too much because genuinely the people care about her. And I'm like, do they really? I don't know if I believe that. But it felt good for Johnny to say that. And I saw, the humbleness and the maturity in Johnny. Even when Johnny was sticking up for Mariah versus Anissa, and, Johnny was like, all right, so where's this going? Can we stop? This is enough. That was his way of sticking up for Mariah. So I see where Johnny be trying to go sometimes, but I still think that the ultimate makeups that Johnny could do is him and Sarah being on a challenge together and him apologizing to Sarah and all of that. I think that would be a great thing to see. I wonder what has happened to Sarah. I think one of y'all told me that she's banned from coming back on the show because I think she did something or handled something incorrectly or whatever. I don't know. But then Theo was he said that he was banned one time on Twitter and that they wouldn't let him come back, but he's back. So I don't know how that works. And Theo has an OnlyFans. So I don't know how that works. You know, some people are saying that some of these people can't come back because they have OnlyFans. Theo has an OnlyFans, and he's back on the show. I don't know. Maybe it's probably because they don't participate in like, they don't do like things with other people. It's just them. Maybe that's why they're able to participate and still be on the challenge, because it's just them. They're not doing anything with anybody else. I don't know. We find out that Olivia and Nelson had sex on Fessy's jacket. I mean, lucky jacket. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure Nelson probably sniffed it. And then, you know, that's the end of the show. I thought this was a great reunion. I thoroughly liked it. What did you guys think about this reunion? Are y'all ready for the Challenge World Championship? I'm interested. I'm ready. I'm glad that they have champions on there, legends, actual challenge people on there. I'm down with the get down for it. I think it's going to be really, really exciting. Do y'all want me to review that series? I most certainly will. If y'all want me to, leave your comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and deuces.